Hi, Nicky. Thanks for joining me. It's great to have you on with us again, and we've got plenty to chat about since the last time you was on.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Obviously, we had 2 seasons curtailed right at the end, and it's been a bit of a hindrance, a bit of a problem for everyone. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get this season completed and get back to playing football and enjoying it.
That's it, absolutely. Now, say about the seasons. I know that's already started. You've had a couple of games, which we'll get onto that in a little bit later. But I want to talk about pre-season or before pre-season, if I can, and how the preparations are made. Obviously, you along with Ricky Crayson, you put together some training plans for those that are coming back, and then I guess it's about building the guys' fitness up from there.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, it's been a bit of a stop-start, and pre-season hasn't gone to really how I wanted it to go. I feel at the moment we're a little bit undercooked. As you said, we had a program put together, didn't quite materialise. Weren't quite 100% sure when players are coming back. Didn't want to get them back too early. A lot of people have organised their pre-season games in sort of February and March, so maybe a little bit behind there. But hopefully now, I think we're just getting back on the track. Some players have hit the ground running and are fit, and some haven't. So we're not quite where we want to be at the moment.
Yeah. And obviously, moving on from there, you have the player retention and recruitment to do as well. And then we'll go through the squad that you've put together in a bit. But how do you go about finding players as to whether they're available or interested in joining, or how does that process work?
It's a funny football fraternity. You get inklings of players not happy at clubs, or certain players are training at other clubs. Unfortunately, some players are a little bit deluded. They're training at step 1 and step 2 clubs, and obviously they haven't even established themselves in step 4 yet. So you have a little inkling that they're going to come back, or they're going to be on the radar in weeks coming up towards the season starts. And invariably, you get loads of players training with loads of clubs. Some clubs have 70 players at pre-season, and they only have a squad of 22. So I knew some players I had a chance of getting back. Obviously, I try not to force any players, let them make their own choice. And eventually, the recruitment went quite well. So we're in quite a good place yet. But as I said, we're not where we want to be. But for the squad-wise, I'm very happy. Yeah.
And how about the friendlies as well? You said about teams preparing them for those friendlies in February, March. But do you speak with the committee and come up with a plan of who to play together, or is it more down to you and things like that? Obviously, you've got your own contacts to speak to other managers and stuff like that as well, haven't you?
Yeah. Again, there's a little bit of an awkward situation because it was originally our centenary year. So we had a couple of high-profile games organised. One was at Luton, one was at Milton Keynes. That never come to fruition, obviously, because of the COVID. And then them teams sort of played, but their season overlapped going into pre-season. So we missed the boat a little bit on that. So we didn't get the high-prestige teams we did. Obviously, 3 years ago, we had Luton and MK Dons come down, which was good for the club. So all the pre-season games are all through contacts I know in the game. So I usually keep to the people I know. Also, some teams who want to play, who might want to try and pinch your players as well. So you've got to be a bit careful, a bit cute.
Yeah. I mean, talk about those pre-seasons games. How happy was you with it? I know you can't really read too much into the results. It's just a case of seeing how the players' fitness goes and how they match into the way you want to play, I guess.
Yeah, I'm never. I never get too high or too low how the actual results go. But yeah, you need a gist of how you're playing in a pattern or a defensive unit, and the cohesion of the side. So yeah, it's very important that you get the basics right. So we've always been pretty good at the back, and again in pre-season, apart from the game against Hamwell, the first game, unfortunately we had a couple of players missing, and we had a young 18-year-old goalkeeper in goal. So, but we played well in patches for that. So I wasn't too disillusioned. Played Baldock, Letchworth, all good exercises for us. Again, you want to give as many players as you can minutes. So that went quite well. Obviously, some of the players didn't have the minutes they wanted. And that was because we had sort of 10 players that had COVID. So that didn't help in that context as well. But overall, it went quite well. So I was quite pleased with it, especially the games against Royston. We played quite well. Obviously, Canvey, we played twice and they boxed us 4-1 and 5-1. So that was a good parameter of where we were. So I was pleased with that result. And, it bodes well going into the season. I've just got to get the balance right in the forward area, and I think we should be okay.
Yeah. I mean, you say about, being affected by the COVID. Obviously, all teams are going to suffer from that as well, aren't they? And I think it's only going to go on throughout the season for them as well.
Yeah, well, I look back over and we sort of had 3 pre-seasons. Each time we kept coming back in to play the game. But a lot of teams went back early June to start pre-season training. I've never gone back that early, so I kept to my same schedule I always do. So hopefully we should be not 100% fit now, but, coming up to our fitness levels in the next 2 or 3 games, we should get to where I want us to be. But at the moment, I actually feel we're probably a couple of weeks behind where we want to be. So, it hasn't started too bad. We got a draw against Tame and we won last night. So the fitness levels aren't quite there for some of the players. So that's what we got to work on. Yeah.
And let's talk about that squad, because obviously, you've retained a lot of players from last season. And you've added a fair amount as well. And it looks like you've got quite a large squad, Nicky.
Yeah, we have got a large squad. It's quite ironic because some of the players I spoke to earlier in this season was looking to sign. Obviously, had other options to go and play for other teams and probably waiting to see if they were going to be asked, waiting to see what wages they could get. And in the meantime, I actually only was going to go for 2 players. And that was sort of Matty Campbell Malope I wanted to sign, and Benjamin Spall. So once I sort of got them, I was sort of quite happy with the squad I had. Retained everyone from last year apart from Robbie, who went to Ware. Apparently he had an offer he couldn't refuse, so that's not a problem. Wishing him all the best. That's what he wants to do. That's what he wants to do. All the others were happy to stay. The 2 acquisitions were good, and then as we got a little bit closer to the season started, I had 4 or 5 other phone calls from players that wanted to come back. So, Jordan Watson was one who done extremely well for us when he was with us. Again, had an offer from Ware that he couldn't refuse, so he went there. Obviously, it didn't work out well for him there. He's come back. He's one who's not fit enough yet, but hopefully if we get him fit, he'll be a great addition to our squad. So when he was with us, he was superb. So I'm looking forward to that. Callum Taylor's come back. He's come back from East Thurrock. Long way from to travel, wasn't enjoying it. So he's come in and he's done okay. Again, got to be a bit fitter. And obviously Jordan Kanoshi, who's had sort of more clubs than Jack Nicklaus. So what can I say? But he's a local boy and he is a good lad. He's got a lot of talent. I've just tried to tell him, just settle down, play for one team. If you're good enough, you'll get recognised, you'll go up and I'll help him. So, he's coming as well. So the forward line looks good. But saying that, we've missed a handful of chances in the last 2 or 3 games. So that's something we've got to work on. So, but everyone else has stayed. Needed another midfield player. Then I can release George a little bit more, or DK. So we got a bit more offensive in the midfield, but we've got probably 2 of the best holding midfield players in the league with Benjamin Small and Jesse. The back line is very, very good. Joe Bennett, who was looking to play in midfield, sort of said to him, it's going to be very hard to get in our midfield. Said to him, do you play centre-back? He said, no, I never played centre-back. I said, what about right-back? He went, well, I said, I'll give you a try. At the moment, being our best player this season. So that's been a little bit lucky for me. But Joe's done brilliant. Great lad, great attitude, super fit. So I never have to worry about him. So easy to coach, so easy to manage. So I'm pleased on that. And, obviously a big signing for us was Charlie Crowley. Had loads of offers to go to other clubs. Obviously, people are going to double his wages, but again, he stayed on. In my opinion, I think he's the best goalkeeper in the league. People might argue on that. So we're steady. We're steady there. If we just get it up front, I think we're being with a shout.
Yeah. And then there's a couple you signed from Hoddesdon as well, wasn't there? Jack Gibbs and
yeah, I've had 2 since the under 23s come in. Richard James brought the under 23s come in. He's been magnificent. He's put some great players in with. future talent in the making, and Cyrus has come in. Still got a lot to learn, but plenty of raw talent, plenty of speed. Smashing boy as well, and Ryan Doughty again had a good run in the team last year in the FA Trophy. A boy of another big future, and obviously Harrison Cage has done very well. A bit unfortunate he's been injured at the moment, but them three have done very, very well for us. So yeah, that exercise of bringing the under-23s in also gives us opportunity when players aren't in the first team and need to get fit, which 3 or 4 of them will have to play this Saturday to get more minutes in them. It bodes well for the future. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I mean, we mentioned the other week, we was doing out our players to watch, our young players to watch, and Ryan was the one that we picked out from you. He really impressed us, especially as he's saying that trophy run last year.
Yeah, he's been a bit unfortunate because he's had a little bit of a knee problem, and it's been swelling up now and then. So again, he's not 100% fit yet. So I've tried not to play anyone who isn't 100% fit. I've tried to give everyone the opportunity to show what they can do. Because unfortunately, once you go across that line, everyone judges you like you're 100% fit. Again, George hasn't been 100% fit. He's had a little niggly groin. His hamstrings have been tight, and now he's got a little quad pull. Mensah, he's had a knee problem sort of all pre-season. That's flared up again. Matty Campbell-Malopey's got a hamstring problem, so he's not involved. Harrison Cage, a little groin, so he's not involved. So, that's all a bonus for us when they come back. But I want to get them right, because once you get one injury, it multiplies and goes on and on.
Yeah. Now let's get on to the league. So obviously, you stayed in the Southern League. There's been a bit of movement, as we all know, and you've got 6 new teams into the league this year, and a few more local derbies for you, and not so many away trips up to the Midlands. Because I know, the last couple of seasons you've had, some midweek trips up there, and I guess it makes things a little bit more interesting locally, but a little bit easier on the travel side of things for you.
Yeah, well, our travelling last year was 2,250 miles. Now, with the restructure of the league and the other teams coming in, we're down to 910 miles. So wow. It's less than half of it. And on the plus side, again, it saves us 8 coaches, which is, again, a good big revenue save for the club. Hopefully we can put that towards the budget and push the budget up to attract better players. Some people reckon that it'll be easier league. I don't. I disagree. I think the league will be harder. I think, as you know, all local derbies are always fiercely contested, and obviously we've got sort of Hertford, Harlow, Ware, Waltham Abbey, now Barton, Burker. They're all strong teams that there's no, in my opinion at the moment, any weak leagues in the league. Colney have just come in as well, so they'll be able to prove themselves, and they're a feisty side. So I don't think anyone relish going to there and playing. So I think it'll be very, very competitive, very, very hard, and I don't think you can take any team lightly in this league. If you do, I think you come unstuck. Yeah,
I think we've said you can. There's so many teams in that league that you can make a case for, but you have been mentioned as being thought of as one of the teams that's going to be out there or thereabouts around the playoffs come the end of the season. I know your aims, but do you think that adds to sort of like the expectations of the fans and everyone?
No, not. I mean, look, we've got to be realistic. When I took over, we were 66-1 outsiders for the league. No one gives us a prayer. Obviously, I only had 8 players. But in my mind, I always know if I can recruit some better players, get them organised. We're always hard to beat. I know that. Yes, we haven't got the budgets of the other clubs. I understand that. But anyone can beat anyone in our league, and that will be proven as the league goes on. Your Bedfords and Burkos are going to be up there. But the last couple of years, we've been 3rd and 4th in the league. So in the playoff positions. And you've got teams like Ware, Harlow, Waltham Abbey. Didcot have recruited well this year, so it will be very, very tough. But I'd be disappointed if we're not in the playoffs. Because I think the squad I've got should attain that, at least attain that position, and then who knows what will happen. So actually getting to the first 2 will be quite hard, but again, we'll give it our best shot, and you never know what happens as the league progresses.
Yeah, and then obviously, like we said earlier, you've had 2 league games, one all-start against Tame United, and I think you said that start couldn't have been tougher, and then a 2-0 win last night over Kempston Rovers, and from what I gather from seeing what you put out on Twitter, that could have been quite a few more, apart from their keeper.
Yeah, we're going back to Saturday's game. Same was always going to be a hard game, but I was very disappointed with our performance. I've got to be totally honest. It was a very hot day. We looked very leggy. I don't know if it's because of the first game, worried, the opposition, etc. They play a very long ball game. They got very quick players up front. And unfortunately, we got into the same mode as them. We started playing it long, and that's not our game. And I thought the game was quite scruffy. We conceded a goal from a corner, which again is not like us. So I was disappointed there, but we were fortunate. One of our talented players hit a top, goal into the top corner, which got us out of trouble. So, but then overall, maybe I'm a bit critical, and probably 1-1 was probably a fair result on the day. So we'll take that. They beat a lot of teams. Unfortunately, they lost last night, which surprised me, but their forward line's very, very, very good. But last night, played extremely well, dominated the game, probably 80 to 90% possession we had of the game. Defence looked solid, midfield, lots solid. Ben Spall's just bedding in now. I didn't think he played particularly well on Saturday, but last night he's the Ben Spall that I know, so he looked very, very good. The only downside is if we'd have won 8-0, that probably would have been a fair reflection on how we played. But we won 2-0. But if we play better teams and miss them chances, we'll come unstuck, because you cannot miss 5, 6, 7 1-on-1s, headers from 5 yards out, open goals. Saying that, their goalkeeper was outstanding. He was outstanding, but still, even with his performance, we should have had a minimum of 5 or 6 goals. That's the only downside.
Yeah. And then obviously, so we move on to this coming Saturday, it's FA Cup weekend, and you've got a trip down to FC Romania. Now everyone knows, the budget they've got and the money they're spending on players and how they've recruited, and they've got Eusebio down there as well. You know well. It's not going to be an easy game for you against them, I don't think, Nicky.
No. They just got the centre forward from Royston, Jordan Edwards as well. So I would like to be going out to talk with them sort of players, but obviously we're nowhere near that sort of player to talk to. But I've heard they're organised. They play it out from the back, physically quite strong, physically fit. It'd be extremely tough game for us. But again, pretty optimistic. I think there's replays now, isn't there? Anyway,
there is. Yes.
So if it's a draw, we can get them back to our place. I'm always optimistic because we don't concede many goals, so that is a good basis to start the game off. It's just if we put our chances away, we'll have a very good chance, and that's the only thing that we need to practice on. Some of our crossing's poor. They're obviously new into the league as well, so I haven't got much information on them. But the 2 games they played, I spoke to 2 people about them. Good side. So. Hopefully it'll be a good crowd there. Don't know their manager, don't know really much about them. They probably don't know much about us. But Matty Campbell-Malope was there last year. So he decided to come back to us, and Jordan Kanoshi was going to sign for them. So he decided to come back for us. So let's see if they made the right choice.
Yeah. And then a couple of weeks' time, so there's that first local derby you've got against Hertford Town. So we're coming on to that to do the live commentary. And that'll be another interesting game for you. Them WELWYN Garden City Hertford games are always fiercely contested, aren't they?
Yeah, well, we had a friendly last year, but it weren't much of a friendly. It was
I remember
a hard-fought game. Yeah, it's a hard-fought game. Jordan Kanoshi got sent off. But there'd be no quarter given, no quarter taken. Young side, very fit, quite physical, good energy levels. Got a good result last night at St Neots. So be an extremely hard game. No Ben, he'll be organised. He'll probably be playing himself as well. He's done well when he took over there in quite a bad state, but he's moulded a very good young, enthusiastic side. So again, if we're not on our mettle or we're not organised, we'll come unstuck. As I said, there won't be any easy games, and that's for us and every team in the league. The rivalry is there. It adds a little bit of spice to it. But I'm just trying to keep our boys calm and, bottle up their emotions and just play football. I've got 1 or 2 hotheads myself, as you know, like really close. So I need him.
How did I know his name would come up?
But he's been absolutely, the last, Saturday and last night, he's been exceptional. exceptional. He's just got to control his emotions and not get embroiled in other people's problems. You know, and he's probably one of the best centre halves in the league. So, you know, I've got to balance that. And actually, off the pitch, he's the nicest bloke in the world. Yeah. It's just when he crosses that line, he sometimes he just lets his emotions overboil. But hopefully, we can, you know, keep everything intact and you know, play our game. You know, that's what I was disappointed with Saturday. We didn't get the ball down and pass it, and that's what we've been doing all pre-season. Last night we got it down, we passed it. We had second phase, we had people running, we got the fullbacks in, got good crosses in, and that's how I want us to play. We always try to play that way, entertaining, and the boys got to play that way and play with a smile on their face.
Love it. Well, Nicky, it's been absolutely great to talk to you once again, and I look forward to Saturday week and seeing you then, mate.
Yeah, you owe me a beer, I think, didn't you?
Oh, well, we'll see. We'll see.
I'll get you one, don't worry.
Lovely, Nick. Thanks for talking to me.
Thanks, buddy. All the best.
Cheers.
Bye.